Sis and Tell, a whole lot of talk, about a whole lot of nothing. Amanda does stand-up, Alison's on TV, and when they hop on the phone, it's the place you wanna be. Sis and Tell.
Hey, Allie.
Hey, man. How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
So I was at CVS the other day, and I have to say, there are certain CVSs in our neighborhood, and I feel like there's like 7 of them where people are like, don't go to that CVS. It's awful. But the CVS in Target, and I'm saying this as a PSA, if you live in Atlanta, go to the CVS in the Target at Edgewood. It is the best one. They are so helpful.
I didn't realize there are CVSs in Target. I thought Target has its own pharmacy.
It used to be the Target pharmacy, and now CVS took it over. And there's a next door you can go get eyeglasses. It's crazy.
Right.
We've got. I think it depends on your CVS, but ours has an Target run place where you can get really cute eyewear. So, but I told them, I was like, hey, y'all are the best CVS. You should know that. And she's like, I'm just doing my job. And I was like, she's like, no. I'm like, no, you're not. I go, y'all are so proactive. You call me, you give me a heads up about things. And I feel like we have 1,000 prescriptions and I'm always at that CVS. So they know me at this point. They don't even ask for my kids' names or my name. They're like, hey, what's up, Amanda? And then she looked behind her and said, she's giving us positive feedback. And
That was such a rarity, I'm sure.
Right. And we've talked about this before. And I think we learned this from mommy and daddy growing up, where they have always given out compliments so easily. And it's just something that people don't do. I think people are used to hearing negative feedback if they're in any sort of customer service line of work.
Yep.
Right. And I guess all jobs require some sort of customer service, even if it's internal clients or working with another department or whatever it is.
No, you're absolutely right. And most people, it's so easy to complain. That's why we say, look, even with One Clip, with the nonprofit I run, which is all about building ladders of kindness and equity and inclusivity, it's so much easier to hate. And that's just a sad statement. It's so much easier to gossip. It's so much easier to tear somebody down. The hard part is finding grace and making someone else feel good. And that's a sign. First of all, it's a sign of confidence of someone in themselves, even if they're having a bad day, to want someone else to feel better. And it's sometimes, we don't always feel that way. We might be having a bad day and we take it out on others. But I agree. It's amazing how far a little bit of kindness will go.
Did I ever tell you the story of Murray and his, what I call the kindness parade? The compliment parade. He was in first grade, and this is when we could go inside schools, right? This was 10 years ago, okay? And I dropped him off, and I started walking down the hallway, and this teacher came up to me, and she goes, Murray said the sweetest thing to me yesterday. She's like, I was having the worst day, and he said, I just love how your sweater goes with your beautiful skin. And she goes, and it made my day. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. She's
And
like,
weird, but so sweet.
I know. She goes, really, it changed my day. And then I swear to God, I walked 10 feet more, and this other teacher came up to me. She goes, Murray gave me the sweetest compliment yesterday. And it was like 5 minutes of all these teachers. This is not hyperbole, of 5 different teachers coming up to me before I could exit the building, telling me all these very specific, different compliments that Murray gave to people. And he has not stopped since. And he has always been so great at giving out compliments and saying the most simple thing to people, and that is, how was your day?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because he's a kid or because people aren't used to being engaged with anyone throughout the day, but he has always stopped, looked people in the eye, and said, how's your day going? I love your earrings. And it changes people's days, and it's fun selfishly, it's fun to see how just giving someone a simple, authentic compliment either on how they've changed your day or something that you like about them, how it changes what's going to happen to them for the rest of the day.
Absolutely. So I have a friend who he does like sort of like outward bound type stuff and leadership training in the woods. And I met him at camp when I brought our youth group. And his name is Doc, and he's just one of those types of people.
Like from the Love Boat.
Yeah. Yes, similar, except he's not a real Doc. His name's Doc Klein, if he's
Okay.
listening for some reason. And he's one of those rare souls. He's like Murray. He's like what Murray's going to be when he grows up because he does the same thing. He showers the world around him with positive energy. And so lately he's been posting on Facebook all of his encounters. And it reminds me of me a little bit because I'm very loyal to my Publix down the street and all the people who work there. And he is very loyal to his local grocery store. I think it's in Ingalls. And he's like, okay, episode 3, right? And he tells all these stories and they all know him in there. One of my favorite from the past week or so was he was standing like at the meat counter and there's a woman who came up and said, I really want to learn how, I want to grill meat tonight or do steaks, but I'm not good at it. And Doc said, so I turned to her and said, yet. And she said, excuse me? He said, you're not good at it yet. And she goes, okay. He said, anybody, and he said, anytime you think you are, less than at something or don't have the confidence, he said, just simply, this is a conversation he's having with this woman. he doesn't know.
Stranger.
Yeah. He says, just simply add the word yet, and it changes the way you perceive that challenge. And so he went on to explain to her how easy it was to grill steaks and what she needs to do. And she says, well, I'm so excited because I'm really not a griller. And then she looked at him and winked and goes, yet. And so I took that like during the day. And anytime I heard somebody say something or caught myself really saying something that felt like I had reached just an impasse, I was like, I'm just going to add the word yet. It's amazing. Thank you, Doc. It's incredible how that simple add-on to any statement that might seem like, the end of the road actually creates a whole access point for things that you don't think you could ever do.
He's a Yeti.
He's a Yeti. Doc the Yeti. And
Yeah.
all of this to say that, I'm gonna now balance this with a story that was very disappointing because I'm a huge Orange Theory.
Having
like
nothing to do with Doc.
had nothing to do with Doc, no, but about positivity and about spreading kindness in the world. I love Orange Theory, and I'm also on these Orange Theory Facebook pages for members, and mostly it's just like memes or encouragement, and then a lot of times people are complaining about cancellation fees or their coaches, things like that. It's just a very authentic space, and everybody I think is very supportive. So I happened to go on this week, and all I see is the update from a woman, and she's got all of these comments, and all the update says is, update, just want to tell everyone here how awesome they are. You've given me confidence to go back to Orange Theory. And this is somewhere in the country, right? This is nationwide. She says, you've given me confidence to go back to Orange Theory. And if I see that woman, I'm just going to ignore her. So of course I'm like, wow, this is
Rabbit hole. This is how I
right.
get into internet rabbit holes. I'm like, what's the backstory? This happens so many times on our neighborhood page where someone's like, well, that was an awkward post. And they'll say this about another post. I'm like, what was the post? And then I'm digging.
Exactly. Well, luckily her update was right above her original post, so I had to keep reading. I mean, who is this woman? Who is she ignoring? Why did she leave Orange Theory? It just left a lot of questions to be answered. So I go down and I read, and her first post was this, that she had been going to Orange Theory to work out for 6 or 7 months and really loved it, and she had gone to a particularly hard workout, like it was one where you switch templates all the time, a tornado workout. And she said she's walking back to the lockers to get her stuff. I have to preface this by saying this was shocking to me because I just can't believe. I believe she is telling the truth. I just can't believe this happened because it's so upsetting to me. Anyway, she's walking back to the lockers, and she says to the woman next to her, as they're getting their stuff, wow, that was a really hard class, right? And the woman said to her, yeah, I guess it was for fat people.
What? That's
Exactly.
That is insane.
Yeah.
An adult said this?
An adult said this.
First of all, I can't even imagine a 12-year-old saying this. These are things that like you see on TV, like kids bullying kids in some like sitcom or Nickelodeon or Disney kids show, and you're like, kids don't really say stuff like that,
Right.
right? It's like, and I cannot believe an adult would say that, and there was no one around.
Well, so that's as far as the story went. And then she
Yeah.
just went on to say, I felt horrible. My self confidence was totally blown. And this was months ago. She goes, and I haven't been back to Orange Theory since, right?
Right.
So look, that was the heart crushing, like slap in the face of reality that there's some people out there who are just so mean. Again, like, are just so hateful because it's easy for you to take your issues or problems or insecurities, throw it on someone else, make someone else feel like crap and make yourself feel better. And even there's so much to unpack there, right? Why the woman would say that, how anybody with any sense of like decency would ever say that to anybody. And especially at in an atmosphere where you are supposed to be supportive and encouraging and inclusive. So all that to say, the beauty of her posting that and being really vulnerable in that story was that she got hundreds of comments from people all over the country lambasting the woman who said it and telling her, you go back, don't let that stop you, including, several coaches from around the country saying, I wish you would report that. We don't deal with people like that. We talk about bullying, right? If
Right.
that's bullying, that's hate speech, that's horrible.
If she's saying that to this woman, she's going to be repeating that to someone else,
Right.
whether it's at the gym or on the street or at a retail, when people are trying clothes on in front of her.
Yeah.
Like I think she should say something to them. This woman, there needs to be repercussions.
Yeah. I think, it's people who are hateful and mean-spirited, and really that it's just it. And as all these people said, it says more about that person than it does about the person that they're offending. But it's hard in that moment to see that.
Look, in those
Because
situations, you also hope when the person who says something mean like that, like there's something like not right with that person, right? Like there's some sort of mental health something going on, but sometimes there's just not.
no,
And they're
no.
just like just a mean person.
Right.
They're
And the
just
sad thing
mean.
is in middle school or like, in their formative years, you encounter mean people like that, and those are just mean people who think they have to be mean to be popular. There's all sorts of like probably social reasons, or, you could psychoanalyze, younger people until you're blue in the face about why they do that. But I think some of those people, when they're not called out at that age for being a bully, they turn
Mhm.
into an adult bully, and they
Yeah.
just think that's the way that life goes, and that they're like entitled to their opinion, whether it's harsh, mean, inappropriate or not.
Mhm.
And I feel bad for those people because they are living in an alternate universe, and karma is coming for you.
I don't know if, you had this same experience with mommy because we were 7 years apart. So we were
We
parented the
still are
same,
7 years
right?
apart.
You're right. But sometimes like we have different experiences. Most of the time they're the same. But if I remember going to mommy and if someone said something mean and I told her about it, she always was like psychoanalyzing them, right? Like what do they have going on in their life that makes
Yeah.
them this way?
Yeah.
And I have to say it made me, I think, less intimidated by people, and it not that it hurt less being like, oh, maybe they get it rough at home or something's going on. They lack confidence or whatever it is, but it does help you, I don't know, deal with that situation in a different light,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things that I think helps me throughout life is when someone's being an ass, I'm like, or is it geared towards me, or is that just their demeanor? Is that how they are across the board? And when it feels like it's less targeted to you and that's just who they are as a person, I take it less personally. It doesn't mean it hurts less,
Yeah.
right? But it's still just a different way of looking at things.
I also think there's some people like in our immediate vicinities, like that are sort of you see them, whether it's somebody at the CVS or the grocery store, and they're not necessarily your friend group, but they are part of sort of your extended social circle, and that some of these people are just not happy people, right? And
Yeah.
so when I stop, and I've had a few of those people in my life, and I took it very personally, right? Because I felt like, oh my gosh, they're so rude, or they're so curt, or they're so gruff with me. Then I realized, no, they're like that all the time.
It's
So
just
then
their
I saw them
demeanor.
as just like a
Right.
personality. And then
Right.
it became a challenge. How do I get them to laugh? Maybe I should
Right.
match their gruffness
Yeah.
and say, yes, the world is terrible. What should we do? Right.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
To really to turn around someone who's like that. And that's why I love situations when I'm doing stand up where with open mics especially, there could be someone who goes before you who is not as polished, who's new, or maybe they say something offensive, or maybe they turn the audience because they're not being very kind to the audience.
Yeah.
And then you're getting a different vibe. But some people are intimidated by it. I love it. I'm like I had one time I performed and this guy was like calling people really bad names and just yelling at people from the stage. Not the person in the audience. This was the comedian that went before me. And this is when I was new. And
So wait,
Aaron,
he was actually heckling the audience?
yeah. It's part of it's his shtick. Look,
Oh,
everyone's got
okay.
it's his shtick. It's what he does. But the audience, sometimes they like it and they lean into it and they have a banter. And sometimes it really hurts the audience for the next comedian. But for me, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm good with this. I've got such like high energy there, and I'm so happy that they're gonna be like, great, thank you for thank you. Thank you. Because then they're scared, right?
Right.
And I come along, I'm like, no, it's okay. We're gonna have a good time. It's like I love situations like that, whether it's in person, where it's real life, or from a performance standpoint.
Okay, so I'm switching gears. Speaking of like in person or personal or our social circles, there's a new, maybe it's not new, but there is a new phishing scheme that gr- it is getting incredibly more popular, according to my surveying. And
Yes.
to be clear, I'm surveying one. That's me. And more sophisticated. And I'm
Mm,
talking about people who send you a text from a
mm,
number you don't know
yes.
and they pretend that it's a wrong number, right? Or they send you something that said, hey, see you at 5 at that restaurant, which if you don't recognize them, you're like, oh, sorry, you must have the wrong number because we're all sort of a little bit more open and naive when it comes to texting. If someone called us, that's sort of crossing a line. If someone showed up at our front door, mailed us a letter anonymously, all that feels very intrusive. But somehow the idea that someone would get one number wrong on a text and send you a mistext
Mhm.
feels, very commonplace. And hey, you sent this, and I know we've talked about this a little before, but I say this because I get these a lot, and
Me
and
too.
I'm smart enough to turn them down. This is what happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
I get a group text
Oh, that's
from
new.
a person who copied me and two numbers that I did not recognize. The person came across as someone in my contact list, but I did not recognize the name. And they sent a picture of two, like probably 30 something young men in ski attire, I think, or like winter attire saying, hey, we're hanging out at the Ritz. That was it. And I was like, who is this person? And then I actually like clicked on the picture. So I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but the name came up. And then I was like, is this person in my contacts? I go in my contacts. The person's in my contacts. I don't remember ever knowing this person, befriending this person. It was a local area code to where I live. Here's what I've surmised. And then one of the people in the group wrote back, oh, looks like you're having fun. I think they have elevated this game to the point where when
Oh.
he texted me, yeah, when he texted me, he automatically shared his contact with me. So it looked like
Mm.
I had his contact and was friends with him.
And then he
And
had a
then
friend in on it?
and had two friends in on it. Maybe
Interesting.
maybe just one, but at least one because they were playing along so that I would say, "Oh, sorry, I'm in your group text," and a picture and stuff. I ended up blocking each number, deleting him from my contacts. By the way, I'm not going to say his name, but if it happens to be a friend I've just forgotten about, I apologize.
Oops.
But I know it's not, and then deleted the whole chain. But it really freaked me out because, I caught it immediately, pretty immediately, but normal, just like our parents, who are just using text sort of peripherally in their lives,
Yeah.
there is no way, and that's not to discount their savviness with technology. It's just they are, you know, going to be able to dupe some really innocent people, and it
Well,
scares me.
well, mommy and daddy, I just had a conversation with them. They went to some presentation, some FBI agent just about this stuff.
No, they did not. They
Yeah.
call it, I think there's a name for it. Instead of phishing, it
Mm-hmm.
said it's called, I don't know why, smishing. Have you heard of
Smishing.
that?
No.
Is that something like SMS? Because a take on
Oh,
SMS
yeah.
texting. Smishing. Yeah.
Well, I had a situation like this arise. It was not a group text, but I usually mess with them, and I'm trying to figure out what their end game is because I can't figure it out. But this person is. I'm gonna read you the beginning of the conversation,
Okay.
and you're gonna know I had to respond based on what they told me their name was. I'm like, how can I not? So they say hi, I say hi, and the person says, "I'm Yo-Yo. How are you doing?" And I was like, seriously, man, this is going to be the best pun interaction ever. So I'm like, hi, I'm Frisbee.
Oh, that's funny.
Doing breezy. How are you? And they're like, isn't this the number Sasha's? Sorry, I'm a little confused. And I say, I'm confused. Why would you message me telling me your name if you thought I was someone you already knew? All I know is that I'm sick of people treating me like a plaything.
You said this?
Yes,
Because you're still Frisbee.
because I'm Frisbee and they're Yo-Yo. I said, in a relationship and was super excited to hear from you. You know, I thought you could relate. And then I went on to, I had all of these like Frisbee and Yo-Yo puns and like, I was,
Were they
Uh,
smishing you?
they were smishing me, but I couldn't figure
Oh.
out what the end game was because
Yeah.
they just kept on interacting with me. Right. And I was like, what's, and it's definitely not Yo-Yo. And it's someone,
And they
you
were
know,
definitely not looking for Sasha.
no, this
Yeah.
this is the MO. And if you pretend, they're always like, "Hey, David." And if you're like, "Hey, how are you?" Then they're like, "Wait, who is this?" And they're like, and if you say David, they're like, "No, it's like I cannot figure out the end game. I would love to know. I would love to know what it is. And if this is Gail who is listening, she's our unofficial research department.
Yes.
We always like we'll question scenarios, and she'll find out and she'll
I know.
email us. So Gail, do you know like what is the end game on this phishing scam, the smishing scam? It sounds like it should
What
be
is the end game?
Yiddish,
Yeah,
right?
instead of Google, we should call her Gagel. We need you, Gagel.
That sounds like Kegel somehow,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Gail and Kegel. I don't even.
Oh gosh. No, what is the end game? I think they can get access to your phone, to your private bits. I don't know.
My
That's why I
private
deleted
bits.
every
I don't think I've taken pictures of my private bits. They can't.
I meant digits. I meant like passwords or I
Yeah.
don't know, stuff you've got on your phone. Whatever it is, it's very intrusive.
Yeah.
Stop fake wrong texting me, people.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to tell me to stop replying to them.
And you should stop replying.
I
I know,
can't.
you're just egging them
I
on.
can't help myself.
You're
You know
egging them
what?
on.
Next time they message me, I'm actually going to be like, can we look, let's just get real here. What's the end game?
Right.
Everyone knows you're trying to scam people. You're going to find some little old lady who falls for it. But like, or older. I'm not supposed to say old. Mommy has corrected me many
Yes.
times. You're going to find some sophisticated older woman who is not sophisticated enough to know that this is a scam. But let's like tell me what it is. I want to know. I'm going to question them. I'm going to report back. But maybe Gail knows.
Yeah. Find out, Gail. Speaking of texting, you know what the boys showed me over break? And maybe you've known about this forever, but I didn't know. Have you ever done invisible ink texting?
I think I've heard of that. I don't
So
know.
when you send a text to somebody,
Yeah.
if you press down on it and sort of highlight it, it gives you a bunch of options. And one is called invisible ink. And you can send it to someone and they can't read what you've said until they sort of swipe their finger over it. It's very cool. Although I'm wondering if people have sent me invisible messages for years that I have failed to either read or respond to because I didn't know, because I didn't see them.
So
I think
do
it
you,
sort of
is it
comes across.
before? I don't understand. I just sent you a text that says invisible ink.
Okay.
And I don't
No,
see.
no, 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 no. So I'm
That
Okay,
was
for
a
everybody
test.
listening,
That
yeah,
was a
you
test.
don't just send a text that says invisible ink.
No, I know, but like that was my test. Like I have wrote in test, but then how do I turn this into invisible ink?
Okay, so I think you um oh, so I wrote it in the text message. Okay, here we go. I've got an
Yeah.
iPhone, but I wrote it in the text message,
Okay.
and then you you click on the blue arrow to the right of whatever you've written.
You like
Okay.
long click on it. Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, and then that says
Slam.
slam,
Yeah.
loud, gentle, invisible ink. And I'm
Okay.
choosing invisible ink, and then I'm send with invisible ink. So I sent it to you and it comes yes. So then you have to swipe it.
Oh,
Ooh, there it is. You
it's
said test.
magical. Ooh.
It's magical.
Oh, it says. Oh, I have to put my finger
You have to put your finger and
across
uncover
all the
it.
entire thing. Hey there, Amanda. Hey,
Yeah.
they, Amanda.
Hey, they, Amanda. Oh,
It's like when you it's like a scratch off.
it is like it looks like a scratch off. Yeah, it looks like the back of one of those, like a
Oh,
credit card or a gift card where you have to take a penny or a dime and scratch it off.
and it goes back
Um,
to being
and then it goes
invisible.
back. So that way you can send things and then people can't read them.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool, huh? I don't know what the others are though. Slam? What's slam?
But couldn't someone else just use their finger?
No, they yes, they could. But if you're sitting next to somebody and you don't want them to see your text at the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sending you a slam.
What is this?
A slam comes off. If you push slam, it basically is like bam. It's sort of
Yeah.
the way if Emerald could text, which I guess
Right.
Emerald can text, but the way he goes bam, that's how it comes across.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to really confuse mommy.
Are you sending her an invisible
I'm
ink
sending it with
text?
a slam, and she's going to be like, "What is this? Who is that? How did you do this?" This is like one time she sent us a picture and I like hearted it, and she's like, "Who just loved this?
Why do you love this?
Why did you love this? Who was this that loved this?" I'm
Yes.
like, "Mommy, oh my
Okay.
gosh."
The other thing I learned, I don't think people care. Maybe they're not even listening at this point, so it's fine. That if you take any photo in your photo album and
Mhm.
you keep your finger on it, it
Yes.
does this
I
cool
showed it to
outline.
you.
You did? I
Yes.
did it. Well, I don't remember you showing me. I did it by mistake because
Mhm.
I was pressing something, or Alan did it by mistake because all of a sudden I get a picture and I'm like,
It
oh my
takes off the
gosh,
background.
it
That
takes off the
you
background.
didn't finish your sentence, so people are like, "What? What does it
Oh,
do?
what does it do?
What's
Right. You press your
happening?"
finger on it. It creates an outline of what whoever's in it or what a person, place, or thing. And then when you send it to someone, it's just the thing without the original
And it,
background
it
in it.
basically copies and pastes just like the main image without the background.
Yeah.
And
It's very
really
cool.
it's neat. I don't know what the purpose is.
No, but we were once I figured that out, I was sending that nonstop. And of course, the boys. This is what happens. They teach me something new, and then I
And then
turn
they're
into that
annoyed by it because you
quintessential
do
mom. Yeah,
it.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, I can do it. Yeah. The sad thing is, I saw a story on Sunday morning on the news, and then I found it on YouTube, and then I sent it to our family text. I'm like, "You've got to watch the story. It's so inspiring. It's incredibly like moving. Watch it." And Levi wrote back, "Mom, this is this is something a grandmother would send to her grandchild. This is so soppy." And this kid, and he's going on and on. I was like, "Oh." He goes, "Are you watching CBS again?"
I'm impressed he knows that reference.
I know. And I'm like, yeah, busted. It was Jane Pauley. It was the morning CBS this morning. But I love Jane. Yeah, I've turned in. That's how old I am. That I am voluntarily watching CBS News or shows on CBS. I think there is something about CBS that
Well, we
I
grew
don't know.
up watching CBS Sunday Morning, The Today Show, all that stuff. So
Well,
there's a bit of
the Today Show's
nostalgia.
different. Yeah, Today Show feels more hip. Now I'm just
It's not
I don't
hip.
know.
Oh,
Now
Allie.
all I've got
The
now is
Today
Lester
Show,
Holt. He's all I've got left. Lester, you're all I have
please
left
don't
on the
go
docket.
anywhere.
No,
And the
please
Today
don't.
Show, Allie, I hate to break it to you, is not
Oh, it
hip.
has jumped the shark big time. That's like a
Coda,
whole other podcast, but
Hoda and Kathy Lee, right? Are they still
no,
at it?
Kathy Lee's
Did she
she's
leave?
been gone.
Who
Hoda
does?
and Savannah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mix
But
them up.
anyway, it's the Today Show. I don't know what happened, but I do know that I will always give them and everybody else the grace to maybe they're not maybe they're just not good yet. So I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I still love it. I love that show.
I still watch it every day. I'm
And they,
still,
you know
I'm
what?
still a loyalist.
They're
know.
big promoters of day drinking. Also. But man, if I lived in a city where is public transportation everywhere, then you can do it. You know, not in Atlanta. We drive everywhere. No day drinking in Atlanta, y'all. It's not good. It's not good for the environment.
That's the PSA for the day. No day drinking in Atlanta.
Well, thanks for listening to the latest Sis Tell podcast. You may be a long-time listener. You may be a first-time listener. Either way, you may not be a subscriber yet. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media. Just look up Sis Tell. And we love you. Thanks for listening.
And shout out to one of our newest super fans, Jason W. If you are still listening at this point, just want you to know how much we appreciate your support, the feedback, and keep listening and share us with your friends.
And another shout out to all the Schulman sisters and Jenny Schulman. We know you're listening, Jenny. Thanks for laughing and getting your girls to just watch you laugh at us.
And by girls, she actually means her daughters. So,
Right.
As always, this has been Amanda and Allison with a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. We'll catch you next time.